The Xbox Bethesda partnership is now complete. They are one and the same, and they're going to be working together in bigger ways than we ever expected, as revealed during a roundtable earlier yesterday. And I just want to talk about 5 of the most significant takeaways that I had from this event. Let's start going over it because there is a lot. Okay, not wasting any time, let's go right to the first point. Exclusivity is no longer a question. They were pretty clear that games will be exclusive on the Xbox platform in the near future. I would have to imagine that means games like Starfield are going to be Xbox exclusive, but he did sort of talk about existing partnerships still remaining cross-platform, finishing those out. They've been very clear about that, but this acquisition was not about releasing everything everywhere. That's just obvious. It just makes obvious business sense. I've talked about that in a previous video. You can check out in this link that I'll have pop up right here. And you can hear my thought process on why those are going to remain exclusive. But anyway, here's exactly what Phil said about console exclusivity. If you're curious or still have any doubt that games like Starfield are probably going to be exclusive to Xbox.
So obviously I can't sit here and say every Bethesda game is exclusive because we know that's not true. There's contractual obligations that we're going to see through, as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms, and we're going to go support those games on the platforms they're on. There's communities of players. We love those communities, and we'll continue to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have either contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go do. But if we're an Xbox customer, the thing I want you to know is this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists. And that's our goal. That's why we're doing this. That's the root of this partnership that we're building, and the creative capability we will be able to bring to market for our Xbox customers. It's going to be the best it's ever been for Xbox after we're done here.
So, I mean, there it is. It's pretty cut and dry. And with the relationship that these two companies have had over the years, it really, really makes a lot of sense. Bethesda is planting their flag in the ground and they're saying, we're going with Xbox. Now, there was a little bit of a dig, and I'll just play the audio file for you really quick about what Phil said about having a wide variety of games. And I'm not really sure if this is a dig at Sony or who this is a dig at, but I found it interesting and I'll play it for you really quick.
You've worked with such a diverse set of studios, giving them a sense of confidence, and you heard the stories that allow them to go and try new creative things in different ways, not stay safe. Like, that's the goal as a platform holder, and the aspiration that we have. We don't need 15 games that are trying to do the same thing. We would like to try 30 different things across 15 different games. It's even more now when you think about all the studios.
So with that nod to something and this relationship that they've had, I want to talk a little bit about the comments I've seen from a lot of people who are Sony fans and they just don't understand why games aren't going to be on the Sony platform. It's just basically a business play. And I understand how you're like, oh, now I have to get another console. You don't necessarily. I mean, if you want to play these games, yes, you do. Just like I have to buy a PlayStation to play God of War, or I have to buy a PlayStation to play Spider-Man, or any of those games. It makes business sense. Xbox needs exclusives, and this is going to be better for the market going forward, period. I actually made a video sort of talking about why I think that's important for the industry. It is important to have balance. If it's all one-sided, it doesn't make sense, and it's not good for everybody. Having competition is good for everybody, though. So anyway, people talk about like how it's not comparable to Sony Santa Monica or Insomniac because they work together so closely, with Insomniac as an example, and Insomniac only ever made one exclusive for the Xbox platform. Well, that technology was actually utilized to make Spider-Man, and now Xbox has a piece of technology from Bethesda that they're going to be utilizing cross-departmental, and that's just awesome. That is id Tech, the technology behind games like Doom Eternal. As you probably know, Doom Eternal runs absolutely flawlessly, and it's really, really cool. They actually made a comment about collaborating that engine technology and those people with companies like 343 or the Coalition. Here's what they had to say.
Their capability, and I think about them collaborating and working and talking with the Coalition and 343 and just like the first-person shooter, third-person shooter space that we have, the studios that are there. I think just kind of an amazing capability. The other thing I get really excited about with id that we haven't really talked a lot about is the future of id Tech. And what could that mean inside of Xbox? Obviously, we've got a ton of studios doing a bunch of different work. I love the way Marty talked about how they've collaborated with other Bethesda studios on IdTech. And I just think about that to the next level. Like, what can we do inside of our organization with IdTech, which is one of the world's best game engines out there, and just make it a tool that so many developers can use to realize their vision.
So this is just going to be a boon technology-wise for Xbox, and it's going to be really, really good for all of their studios. They have a powerhouse of content coming down the pipeline. I think it's pretty obvious. They're very confident throughout this whole thing, and this is sort of the icing on the cake for where they want to be. Who knows if they're going to continue acquiring studios, but time will tell. Let's talk a little bit about the 20 new games coming to Game Pass. That's just ridiculous. They're there right now. So if you have an Xbox and you have a Game Pass membership, you can play 20 games. Games like Oblivion, Morrowind, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Wolfenstein, Doom, the old Dooms. There's just so much greatness there. And they're incredibly happy about it. And this is where I think, even if you're a Sony fan, you have to see that those sort of relationships that have been built just over decades and decades of partnerships, they've come to fruition in this partnership between Bethesda and Xbox, and it really, really makes sense. Todd Howard talks about calling up Phil Spencer to ask him questions when they ran into trouble with Fallout 76, for example, and it's really cool. Here's a few sound bites from that interview portion.
And I think folks are going to love it.
You think about the future there. I think people don't appreciate, consumers see Game Pass as like, just give me games. I have lots of games. But then as a creator, it really unlocks some things that maybe you wanted to do, or will this find an audience, or there's certain types of games that maybe in the past could kind of get lost sometimes. And having that kind of avenue to make a game and release a game opens up so many things, a lot of things that our company and all our studios, they really, really love to do. From the creator side, it's also just, awesome.
So they're happy that stuff's coming to Game Pass. And from personal experience, Game Pass is just really neat because you hop on there and you look at games that are really, really well renowned and maybe you haven't experienced. One example for me is Yakuza 0, for example. It was a game that I knew was great. I just never put the time into playing it. So there it is on Game Pass. It's free. Sure, I'll download and play it for a while. And I was blown away. The storytelling is excellent. I'm having fun with sort of the quirkiness and fun of it all. And right away, Bethesda's Todd Howard recognizes that positivity and that angle, and they're really, really excited about it. This is a company that has worked together hand in hand for decades, literally decades. And it's cool to see this relationship come to fruition in a way that everybody seems happy about.
Our company's had a lot of chapters, but when I think about it, each of those is marked by or doing that with many of the folks at Xbox through every generation of consoles and technology. And when we sort of thought about what the future would bring, the games that we want to create, Phil is someone I'm always calling and bouncing things off of. And as we talked, it became clearer and clearer that this kind of partnership was where we wanted to go with all of the games we were doing.
And if you want to play any of those games, there's 20 of them available right now on Game Pass, so go check them out. Here's one other way that maybe you didn't consider, though. The Japan market. Shinji Mikami hopped on the video for a little bit to talk about how excited he is about the collaboration between these two companies. And, Shinji Mikami, well known for games like, Resident Evil 4, Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, God Hand, Vanquish is a very popular underdog title. And it's just really, really cool to see that Tango Gameworks is sort of in the mix. I'm going to bring my notes down here for just a second. They also talked about the mobile Japan angle, but Phil specifically talked about this partnership and how important it is. This helps them get into the Japan market, and he is clearly stoked about that. Here's his words.
I'm ready to go to Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah, go see Tango, a studio that I just have such respect for, the history of the creations there. I've talked for a long time about our desire to have more of a first-party presence in Japan. This is a great step there. So, just thinking about the map of where these teams are, and just talk about all the games they're working on, but I can't wait to spend more time with the Tango team and get to know them.
So that's in addition to the mobile market, which they get with Roadhouse and Alpha Dog. So they're thinking super big picture here. They're not thinking about launching on PlayStation. They're not worried about the PlayStation console because they have so many different avenues to speak to gamers with this acquisition of Bethesda. It is so massive, and I don't even think my excitement level is doing it justice for how big this is. There was one other avenue that they sort of teased, and this is where I think they're really showing their confidence. They talked about a major summer event that's coming very, very soon. It's going to be an Xbox and Bethesda event. They were sort of cagey about what's going to be shown there, but I think this is where we're going to get our first extended glimpse at exclusive games. Here's what they had to say.
Even the process of, people don't realize, but when you go put, historically it was like the E3, event or whatever, you put on a show, you do a digital thing, like people don't realize that takes months and months of preparation. And so we are in that planning phase. We are looking at content, we are thinking about content. So now that we are officially one team, this is sort of the opportunity now for us to move at even more accelerated pace, but it's been fun.
Erin, Greeny's dancing. He's not giving an answer. What's the
We'll
answer?
have something this summer.
This summer. Thank you,
Good?
Losi. Perfect.
I look forward to learning from you, from working with you on this summer event that we've promised now. It's just, the future's exciting.
So all in all, pretty cagey about the summer event, but exuding confidence through and through, and this is just a really exciting time to be a gamer. I think Sony fans are nervous. They're nervous that they're going to lose games that they were expecting to play on their PlayStation platform. But like I've said in previous videos, this is going to be good for the industry going forward. I feel like now more than ever, the Xbox platform and the PlayStation platform are more on an even playing field. And I might even say that Xbox is tilting toward being more advantageous because they're going to be able to launch more exclusives more often than Sony is, or at least go toe to toe with how often that they've been able to do it. And that just means good market share for everybody. That means Sony's going to have to work harder to make more games that are really good, that speak to their audience, and Xbox is going to have to work to keep up to the level that Sony has set. Sony makes absolutely phenomenal games, and God, this is just great. And I hope you can see it the way that I see it. I see this as a win for everyone, not just Xbox fans, just gamers everywhere win with this acquisition. And I'm very happy for Bethesda. They seem super stoked about it, but I want to know what you think. By the way, while I have you, if you've liked these videos, please take a second and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing more vlog sort of style, direct to camera impressions about these major events. And I've really had a fun time seeing your reactions and comments about it. So yeah, subscribe here on my YouTube, and I'll see you for the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye for now.